I'm Lori Brown. Let's Pondercast. Let's cast about for ideas and thoughts that are circling the airport, the quiet ones that get lost during the day. I'm going to head out into the ether and I'm going to track them down and bring back the other bits of you for you. Please feel secure. Even though I have no idea what I'm doing here, I'm going in there, witch or no witch, guards or no guards, because there are other ways for us to be in the world, and I'm curious as to what they might be and how we might get there. This first Pondercast, like all of them I hope, is going to be useful to you, and that's why I'm doing them. This one I want to title, Slow the Fuck Down. I'd really like Samuel L. Jackson to read that title for you. Can you just imagine that? I have found the ultimate weapon of deceleration, and it's an album called Slow Volumes No. 1, and it's a compilation put together by Joshua Van Tassel and James Bunton. You're going to hear a cast of characters, some familiar names to Signal listeners. I started listening to this record at a table and finished the album flat out on the living room carpet. So you may want to clear a space now, and do not try to operate heavy machinery while listening to this Pondercast. Slowing down is hard. It's like learning to float is really hard. Remember that first moment when you actually figured it out? Revelation. Oh, just let go. Do nothing. That's a lesson we have to keep learning over and over again. Just let go. Listening to this album is better than me just recording for 15 minutes or so. Just let go. Just let go. Just let go. There is a symmetry in this first piece. It's called Trio for Drone, Commander, and Piano. In the chords that the piano shifts around, they all sound like the end of a great line in a hymn. They all resolve, and then they resolve again, and resolve again. Maybe that's what slowing down feels like. It's this constant, long resolve, feeling yourself drop back into a bass, tonic chord of your life. Where is that bass line? What does it sound like? Children are never still or slow until they lose consciousness in bed at the end of the day. I remember watching my children sleep and thinking, this is the only time I really get a good look at them. They're not moving, finally. I could study their face, their eyelashes, their hairline, and drink in that picture and try to commit it to memory. Even as adults, it's hard to be still. Driving helps because we are still constantly moving, but sitting still at the same time. It kind of takes the edge off real stillness, doesn't it? Driving is the gateway to meditation. All that distance covered can help you slow down, so much so that when you finally pull into your driveway and turn off the motor, sometimes don't you feel the urge to just sit there? It's quiet. No one can disturb you, no demands. And you've gotten to a place where sitting still is such a lovely, luxurious thing to do. And this is a piece called Arrows by Adrian Gordon Cook, who is from Toronto. Cook's work is very multifaceted and it comes together slowly. Whatever you are doing this moment, this music becomes your soundtrack, right? So imagine that what you're doing right now with this music is a scene in a movie. How would that change what it is you're doing? Doing the dishes or typing or dusting or whatever? Well, I can tell you, as the audience watching you in your film, I am seeing you do that mundane thing in a whole different light with this music attached to it. You've slowed down your movements. You seem to be acting with more intention right now. Like washing that pot is the only thing on your mind, and you are doing a great job. It's a lovely scene. You know those scenes in movies. It probably means that the next scene is going to explode with some kind of unexpected event. But for the moment, tranquility reigns. This is Merganser with Montage. Work was nuts today. It was so stressful making that deadline. You got it done with moments to spare. 1,000 breakdowns during the day in communication, in attention. The world just seemed to be working against you. You hit send, you grabbed your bag and got out of there before you blew up at someone. Elevator thankfully empty. You close your eyes and lean back against the wall and try to take some deep breaths. You stride out of the building to face the drive home. You can't get in the car like this. You can't face rush hour traffic like this. You can't arrive home like this. You need a walk, just around the block. You start out almost at a run until you notice you are sprinting and that your head has run away with your body. You slow it down to a snail's pace, forcing yourself to take baby steps, and you breathe deeply to help slow things down. People pass you without even noticing that you were basically crawling along the sidewalk. Blank looks on their faces, their city walking faces. You think they look like sheep walkers. You look up between the buildings, and the clouds are moving faster than you are. Maybe now you can drive home. This is Andrew Kinoshita with Matsu. Matsu by Andrew Kinoshita. That track reminds me of the joy of sitting at a piano and just making something up. You know, you can't play piano very well, but just enough to be curious about what you might be able to compose. So you're feeling your way around the keyboard, really listening for what sounds and feels good. And that bar sounded really good. And then so you move ahead to add a second one and slowly adding note by note, sound by sound, memorizing the melody as you go. Because if you don't, the piece will be gone forever. You know, all that time that you ignored today, the amount of time that just slipped by because you were not paying attention to anything. Let's call it the forgotten time, the ignored time. Well, you can now, through the power invested in this music and the amazing talents of Felicity Williams, get that time back. She has collected all those moments that you have dropped and spun them together and is returning them to you in this gift. This is called Time Remembered with Felicity Williams. Felicity Williams, and Time Remembered. You've been focused so intently on your computer screen. It's been hours. Finally, you look away and out through your window, and it shocks your eyes to all of a sudden have to focus on this unaccustomed longer focal length. And up in the blue sky, there is a jet with this beautiful trail of white whatever streaming behind it, cutting the sky through your window in half. That jet is moving so slowly. Motion parallax. 8, maybe 10 kilometers above you, speed is relative. You have a choice about how you want to experience it. The long view slows things down. You shut the computer lid. You need to get a long view on the work in front of you. This is Contrail Chemistry, and it's by Dean Drouillard. Dean Drouillard with Contrail Chemistry from Slow Volumes number 1. Have you slowed down to yourself at this point? Have you landed? Has your breathing changed, your heart rate? Are the muscles relaxed on your face? Get to the point where you feel like a tree. You know, not one of those talking trees in The Wizard of Oz, grumpy, resentful for having their feet stuck in the ground. But imagine if your feet could never move. How slow would your thoughts get? Could you get to a point where you realize that time is not against you and it's not rooting for you? Time just is. You can kind of lean against that. The neutrality of time can be a relief. This is Oswego by All Ages Noise Show, and suburban Phoenix. Sarah Slean has said, in order for me to create, I sometimes need to take myself out of a comfortable situation and return to an ignorance and innocence that is exciting, but also rejuvenating. It's like when you pick up an instrument you don't understand, you can come up with all these new little melodies. Music is new to you again. Wanting to think differently. How do you get your thinking out of your comfort zone? Change the speed. Slow things down. Leave spaces for stuff to emerge. When music gets doled out over time in small, measured moments, when music feels like it's slightly holding back, creating space, there are bits of you waiting there in between the notes. This is Sarah Slean. That was an untitled piece by Sarah Slean, leaving you the opportunity to title it yourself. The slide of Christine Bougie's guitar in this next track is going to smear time for you. Taking that perfect pastel drawing of your day so far and just putting a hand all across it and smearing all the colors together. Time is a blur. From the moment your feet hit the floor, you were pushing forward. And now the day is going to catch up to you. It demands to be felt as a whole. What is the color of the smear of your day? This is Rao by Christine Bougie. This compilation record by Joshua Van Tassel and James Bunton is like a good mother, one who sees that her child is overexcited, overtired, overreacting, and quietly and calmly removes all the stimuli from around the child, takes them to a quiet room and holds this child against her chest, slowing her own breathing and walking the room slowly and walking quietly around the room, pausing to look out the window, rubbing the baby's back and humming a slow, low song, deliberately, lovingly, slowing the world down for her child. And sometimes the crying stops and the baby's breathing changes. Their face relaxes and they stop at the window and stare out at the trees and the sky together, mother and child. My, look at the time and how it's grown. This is Robbie Grunwald with Fountain. There you have it. That was Slow Volumes number 1. I'm Laurie Brown, and this is the very first Pondercast. Hopefully, usefully slowing you down. If you know someone that could use some help slowing down, I hope you will pass on this link for them. And if you want the music just for yourself, you'll find it on Bandcamp. I'm Laurie Brown. Have a great night and have a great day.